People who don't want kids, why? Kids are a lifelong commitment to raise and care for another human, and I don't think I'm capable of handling that. I like kids, but I don't think I could raise one well, so I'm not going to try. Why would I want kids? Personally, I can't think of a single compelling reason to have them. Kids deserve a parent who wants them, not someone who just tolerates them. It's not the only reason, but one fear I've had is a special needs kid that would require constant care for the rest of my life. I grew up with a brother 10 years younger than I am, went from changing his diapers, to teaching him how to mod Minecraft, left to go to college. I call him nearly every night and we still watch anime and play video games together through Discord calls. I already had my kid, he's called my little brother, just wish I understood my family's financial situation sooner. I struggle with anxiety and anger issue and I wouldn't want to pass that on to my child, or have them have to grow up dealing with my anxieties and anger episodes. I just couldn't do it and it wouldn't be fair to them. Plus it's real expensive. I'd rather have a life of peace and quiet and travel to figure myself out. To the moms, you guys are tough saints.
What was the incident at your high school? When I was a freshman in high school, we went into lockdown for an active shooter. There were cop cars swarming the building and helicopters flying above the school. It was a whole ordeal, and every student and teacher were obviously scared. There was a rumor floating around that the shooter was in the science hallway, which was the hallway I was in at the time. Due to all the rumors circulating, one science teacher decided to make a Molotov cocktail to throw at the potential shooter, and another science teacher broke one of his golf clubs he had stashed away in half for self-defense. It turned out the shooters were people with paintball guns, and both of these science teachers were fired the next day. It was always talked about the remaining years I spent at the high school about how terribly unfair it was for firing teachers that were in theory trying to defend their students from a potential shooter.
Girlfriend of 2 years cheated with my neighbor and now lives there. I broke up with my girlfriend of 2 years about a month ago. She started going back to school a few months ago and started carpooling with a guy in the neighborhood to school. The first time I meet him he announces that he's an expert at manipulating people and situations. I didn't like him from the start and told my girlfriend that I thought he had bad intentions and that he had the hots for her. She says he's not her type and they are just friends. I decide to not be the controlling type and to trust her. Fast forward to our anniversary and she calls out of work because her back was hurting but ends up doing a side job with a neighbor. She doesn't get home from her side job until almost midnight. She claimed her phone died yet the person she was with had my number. He put me on do not disturb. I confront her about cheating and she denies it. Slowly she quits doing anything to help out our household and is constantly hanging out with her friends. A few days after our anniversary it's Halloween and she begs me to get pumpkins and wine and we were gonna carve pumpkins. She's wearing a questionable Halloween costume and on our way home she gets a text saying she's invited to dinner and that I'm not invited. So I give her a choice and she says she wants to be dropped off at the neighbor's. So I drop her off only to return because she's dressed in paper and it's raining plus I just went to 3 grocery stores to find pumpkins. We go back to our house and argue. Next week she gets paid and I ask her to get dog food because I'm broke and couldn't get any. I find out that she spent all her money on her friends after a few days of lying about having money. When I discover she blew $300 I kicked her out. Now she's living 6 houses down. I have to drive past his house to leave my neighborhood. His lives with his parents BTW. I've recently heard that he just wants to be friends. I've had only one phone conversation with her since we split up. She calls me to tell me someone grabbed her ass at work. I told her that they probably figured it was okay since she was of questionable morals. She blocked me.
What are some creepy facts about human nature? The eyes have a separate immune system than the rest of the body. If your body's immune system realizes your eyes exist, it'll attack the eyes and reject them from the body as it would a virus. The call of the void. This occurs when humans are on high places, like rooftops or cliffs, and get the urge to jump. It's actually pretty common. If you're bored enough you'll begin to intentionally hurt yourself. If you happen to have brain injury, there is a condition that makes you unable to recognize objects around you. Like, you will see a fork, the colors and the shape of it, but you can't know how to use it, if it's edible or not, etc. Pretty scary thing to imagine. On a recent date with a CSI I learned that a lot of people die naked on or near the toilet. Apparently people get very hot and try to strip down when close to death.
What was the best moment you've seen where the real world hit a spoiled rich kid? I had a roommate my freshman year of college that came from an incredibly rich oil family from the Middle East. I remember him having the hardest time adjusting to not having someone else prepare him food. I remember waking up one morning and going to the kitchen and seeing him try to eat eggs and toast he had just prepared himself. He asked me how I normally prepare fried eggs because his tasted really crunchy. Turns out he had just cracked the egg hole into the pan and prepared it shell and all.
What was the last thing you said to someone before they died? You're a piece of shit. I hope you die. These were the last words I ever told my boyfriend. We had an argument and we kept exchanging hurtful words to each other. I didn't mean the words that I said, but I was just so angry. We ignored each other for a couple of weeks. I thought we would resolve things if we just had a little time apart from each other. Little did I know that within those couple of weeks he would die from a drug overdose. I didn't see it coming. Nobody did. May 2nd will never be the same. I truly regret the words I told him, and not a day goes by where I don't feel guilty. I don't think I'll ever forgive myself. Words are a powerful thing, and I have learned my lesson the hard way.